Let's get this thing started. One moment just to address the fact that I have food in between my teeth that I did not know was there. We're just gonna move on, not even gonna acknowledge it. Basically, I got a lot of DMs from you guys telling me that I should, instead of filming a Q&A video and a makeup tutorial separately, put them together and answer your guys' FAQs while also doing my makeup. I feel like I haven't been able to take the time out to really thank each and every one of you for all of the kind messages, for all of the support, for all of the love. I have gained over 900,000 followers on TikTok and almost 60,000 on Instagram, which is absolutely insane. I don't think you guys know this about me, but my entire life I have always wanted to do this for a job. So the fact that I am able to sit in front of this camera for you guys and actually start a YouTube channel for body positivity, something that I never thought I would even be able to step my foot into, it's really such a beautiful thing. And so I just wanted to take the time out to thank all of you guys and genuinely say from the bottom of my heart, I wouldn't have this platform without all of you, so thank you. We're going to be starting off with concealer. I am using the 𝙂𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙘𝙨 concealer. The first question that I was asked is, how tall am I? So for the longest time I thought I was 5'9". I am actually 5'8". Fun fact, my mother is 6'1" or 6'2", I don't remember. So that is where I get my height from. Tall queens unite. Another one of the questions that I was asked, what are all my tattoos and what are all their meanings? This one right here is a broken heart that I got for a lesser known, maybe well-known SoundCloud rapper named Lil Peep. He passed away in 2017 and I really enjoyed his music. I really enjoyed him as a person. He meant a lot to me, so at the time I thought getting a tattoo for him was a good idea. I still think it's cool. The story's cool. And then I have these finger tattoos. So this right here is the Sagittarius symbol, and then not trying to flip fingers on. This one right here is the Pisces symbol. I have that one as a matching tattoo with one of my close friends, Desiree. She's a Pisces. I'm a Sagittarius. This one right here, it is a little bit roughed up because it did not heal properly. So let's just ignore that, okay? This one right here is the pentagram and triple moon symbol that I got tattooed on me last December. A lot of people will probably see that and not really understand the meaning. They think that I worship Satan. They think that I, do all kinds of evil stuff, which is absolutely not true. The pentagram is actually a symbol of protection and it means a lot to me, especially with the triple moon. I got it because I am really connected to my spirituality and I have been for a while. I just feel like it is really important to me. I feel protected with it. It means a lot to me. This one right here is a matching tattoo with my best friend Callista. I love her. We've been best friends for 11 years. Same for me and Des. My last tattoo is this one. It kind of goes with my triple moon pentagram tattoo in a way that it kind of symbolizes my spirituality and it means a lot to me. This was my first tattoo. It's just two hands holding crystals up to the moon. And yeah, I love it. It's probably my favorite tattoo. It's really well done. I guess this is a pretty good segue for me to start talking about my spirituality since I get asked that a lot. So when I kind of first started this whole journey, I considered myself Wiccan as I felt like my beliefs at that time lined up a lot with Wiccan beliefs. If you're not aware of what Wicca is, it's basically a combination of paganism and witchcraft. And I know a lot of you who are unfamiliar with witchcraft and paganism are probably thinking I'm some demon worshiper, which I'm not, but this is not a video about Wicca or witchcraft. So if you guys are more curious about that, you can go ahead and do your own research. I just felt like at the time, I really wasn't sure what my beliefs were. I wasn't sure if I was pagan, Wiccan, just eclectic. I wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't really sure. after some self-discovery, sort of realized that I'm more of an eclectic witch. So basically what that means is I identify a lot with some pagan practices, but I also identify with a lot of other practices from other cultures, as well as kind of my own, pretty much make up my own customs and my own rituals, and I take things from other beliefs and kind of mix them in with my own. I try to be as open-minded as possible when thinking about religion and applying it to my own practice. I don't really necessarily believe in a god and a goddess. It's kind of a situation where I believe that God is within all of us and we all have this power within us that we can discover. Right now I am using the Cheek Dew by ColourPop in the shade Sour Cherry from their cherry collection. I just put it on my cheeks and over my nose. I know it looks a lot right now, but once I put powder and stuff on, it actually evens out pretty nicely. Basically, to kind of give an answer to this question is, I consider myself a spiritual person. I consider myself an eclectic witch. I consider myself pagan in some ways. I have an altar set up in my room where I pray. I'm kind of all over the place, I guess you can say. I celebrate a lot of the pagan holidays, but I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to claim a religion, if that makes sense. I am setting this face with the Kosas Cloud Set in the shade Breezy. Now time for my eyebrows, and also talking a little bit about my education. For my eyebrows, I'm going to be using this angled brush from Sephora. It's pretty old. I've had this for years, and just a simple black eyeshadow. I am currently at community college. I have been here for about 4 years or so. It's taken me a really long time to kind of figure out a major that works for me. And for the longest time, I thought I was going to be going into journalism. And then I thought I wanted to go into biology. And then I also thought I wanted to go to vet school, which I quickly realized is a lot of money. It takes a lot of work, and I don't think I am as disciplined for that. My passion has always been in social media, and I have always been really good naturally with working with editing videos and just kind of maneuvering my way around social media apps in general. So before I kind of started on TikTok, I really loved doing YouTube, and that was my passion for the longest time. You can ask any of my friends. I always wanted to be YouTube famous. That was like my dream. And then last year, when I kind of kickstarted this whole TikTok thing, I soon realized that I could major in communications, and if I wanted to go behind the scenes and kind of do what my agency does, or if I wanted to manage other influencers or kind of work in PR, I would already have the experience, and I'm also already really good at that kind of stuff. With my eyebrows, I basically just take the black shadow, I line my eyebrow underneath, and then I just work up in motions, if you guys can't tell. When I am doing my left eyebrow, I just kind of draw in where there would be naturally hair there, right there. So I just draw a line right there. I go in and I underline. Somebody had also asked me if I had recently got bunnies or if I have had them my whole life. And the answer to that is kind of complicated. I had my first rabbit when I was about 8 or 9, and then I got my second one when I was probably like 10 or 11, and I had her up until 2016. So she was about 9 or 10 when she passed away. I have had a total of 5 rabbits in my entire life. Unfortunately, 2 of them had passed away under unfortunate causes. Right now I have one bunny. Her name is Darla. Her sister passed away a couple weeks ago, and it's been really hard adjusting to that. I loved that rabbit probably more than anything in the world. Now I'm going to go in with my 𝙀𝙧𝙤𝙀𝙪𝙘𝙀 Airbrow. Now a next question of mine, when did I come to terms with my sexuality, and did I ever come out, and when did I come out? I kind of never really knew until I was about 18 or 19. I started realizing that I liked girls and that I found girls attractive, which was a really big change for me and shift for me, because my whole life I knew that I wasn't exactly straight, but I never thought that I actually liked girls. And then once I started coming into myself and figuring out who I was, I had this realization that I could possibly be bisexual. I was in a relationship with a guy for about 2.5 years, and we ended things in October. I kind of always had thoughts and feelings that I was bisexual, but I never had enough courage to come out and say it. I would say probably about last summer, I finally felt comfortable saying out loud, I'm bisexual. This was the first Pride Month that I had ever celebrated where I actually felt comfortable in my sexuality as a 22-year-old. There's a lot of issues as far as bisexuality goes. I know a lot of people can relate to this, where if you really only have a lot of experience with guys, you feel like, oh, maybe I'm lying to myself. Or if you really only have a lot of experience with girls, you feel like you're lying to yourself. There's a lot of middle ground that I never really understood. And finally, I feel comfortable enough with myself to say, you know what, I am bisexual. And no amount of experience is needed to say that, because I feel that in my heart. And it took me a very, very long time to accept that within myself, especially after being in a relationship with a male for 2.5 years, a very serious relationship. I always thought, you know, well, maybe I am just straight. Maybe I was always lying to myself, but that wasn't the case. I love women, I love men, and I never really had a coming out. You know, I told my friends, I told people close to me, and I posted it, I guess, on social media, but I was never just like, hey guys, I'm coming out now. I don't feel like that is necessary all the time. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you feel like you want to come out and you want it to be this really big thing, do that for you. But if you don't, you would rather keep it low key or just kind of subtle, you don't really know, you're experimenting, that's okay too. On to the next portion of my makeup. I use this brush. I don't know where it came from. I've had it for years. The Lust for Dusk palette by ColourPop, and I use the Sunset Chaser for highlight. I love using eyeshadow for highlight. It's kind of my staple. I just put on my nose bridge. I use the motion like this, right here, and then I put it on my Cupid's bow. I love lots of highlight on my Cupid's bow. It makes me feel like an angel. And then I put it right underneath my lip on my chin. What is the best thing to wake up to in the morning? And I feel like the best thing to wake up to in the morning is a good breakfast. In ED recovery, it's just going through life with an eating disorder in general, your relationship with breakfast is usually hindered and harmed a lot. Throughout recovery, it's definitely been a process of getting back to seeing breakfast as the first meal of the day, it being a source of nutrients for me, it being a source of happiness for me, where it used to be something scary, it used to be something I didn't look forward to, and now it's probably such a staple in my day. It's my time for me to just make my breakfast, enjoy myself, have coffee, sit at the table, journal, etc. Now for eyes. Okay, so I love this eyeshadow. I live by this eyeshadow. It's just like a classic glimmer eyeshadow. But what is my favorite book? My favorite book is probably The 4 Agreements. I forget the author's name, but I'm gonna put it on the side right here so that way you guys can definitely look into it if you would like to read that book. It's kind of a self-help book, spiritual book. Those are my favorite types of books. What are my favorite workouts? Every single day I get on the treadmill and I walk 2 miles. That is just my classic workout. I sometimes will switch it up. Usually it's a combination of doing squats, working my upper body. My favorite artists. I have a variety of favorite artists as far as music goes. I am using the e.l.f. Flirty Birdie liquid eyeshadow. I love me some SZA. I love me some Willow, Lana Del Rey, MGMT, Tudor Cinema Club, Vampire Weekend, Pink Pantheress. I have a lot of different artists that I like to listen to and that I love. I honestly think it just depends on the mood and on the day. I will link my Spotify below, so if you guys would like to see more of what I listen to on a regular basis, you can go check it out over there. Now we're gonna do my classic blue under eye with the LA Girl Shockwave Neon Eyeliner in the shade Fresh. Somebody had asked me what is my favorite meal. I love carbs. I love pasta, I love pizza, I love fries, potatoes. My favorite meal is probably either a poke bowl from my favorite poke place or like a pasta pizza situation. I am going to take just a classic white shadow right here. I'm using the shade Jasper in the Kylie Jenner bronze palette. A little bit right there. So I know a lot of you would like to know where I shop and where I get my clothes, because a lot of you who follow me are also mid-size or in the plus size range, and I know how hard it is to find cute clothes or clothes that fit properly with a mid-size or plus size body type. I do a lot of thrifting. I do shop on Shein. I do shop on Urban Outfitters. I think I've ordered clothes from Boohoo, from Nasty Gal, from Verge Girl. I love shopping at Earthbound. I get a lot of like my hippie style clothes from there as well. As far as bottoms go, when I do want to get a good pair of jeans, I will usually either go to Urban Outfitters or sometimes even Forever 21. It really depends. Their curve section fits me a lot better than their regular jeans. I can actually not fit into their regular bottoms due to the fact that my hips are a 43 and my waist is a size 31. You guys also asked me where I get my bathing suits. Now I get my bathing suits from a variety of places. I have been gifted a few from NYX. I also really like Hollister, Abercrombie, Target, Shein, Pretty Little Thing. All of those places are kind of like my go-to as far as bathing suits go. When I am just putting lashes on, I like to coat them with a good mascara first. The mascara that I like to use is by Pacifica. This is the Dream Big mascara. I have been asked a lot about how I deal with hate on TikTok and on Instagram or just social media in general. Whenever I see somebody comment something negative on my videos or even other like body positive creator videos or just in general, I instantly categorize that as somebody taking their own insecurities out on me. Because as somebody who is happy and confident and just wanting to spread positivity, I would never go out of my way to ruin somebody else's day or comment something negative on their videos. I will only ever try to comment things that are positive or educating somehow. I get a lot of comments from like younger men who call me fat, they call me disgusting, they, call me a feminazi, like all of these horrible insults, I guess. I just kind of take that with a grain of salt. I used to let stuff like that get to me. I used to want to argue with them, but I don't ever want to waste my energy on somebody who is clearly just not happy with themselves. I'm happy and confident in myself. I appreciate all of you who go out of their way to argue with these individuals on behalf of me, but honestly, a lot of these people are either so far gone or they're so immature and they can't even grasp the idea or kind of the message that I'm trying to send out to all of my followers and people who, look up to me. How I got into TikTok or how I started my TikTok. When I got onto TikTok, I wasn't really looking to be a content creator. I kind of just downloaded it as a meme. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cool. I think it was at like the end of 2019 and I was just posting kind of funny videos of my friends. And I really didn't take it seriously up until probably last year. I had seen somebody post a pose and unpose video on TikTok, and I was just really blown away by it, and it kind of inspired me to start posting my own body positive content, because going through recovery and just growing up and getting older, I started to gain weight, and I had a really hard time finding a lot of content creators or people in general who had the same body type as me. I know that I have thin privilege. I am aware of being a mid-size creator. I am not faced under the same scrutiny as some plus-size creators. For so long in the media, I never saw average women, or I never saw size 12 and up women. I only ever saw size 2, size 6, size 4, like all of these tiny girls. I just wanted to see more people who looked like me and looked like my friends. And so I took the time out to start making my own content, and it blew up. It really took off. And then I kind of sort of realized this is my niche. This is what people love, and this is what people needed. I was kind of in the beginning stages of my recovery, I guess you can say. I was really starting to actually go through and decide that I wanted to start my own self-love journey. And it was kind of like a light switch that happened. I realized this is what I need to do. This is my destiny. This is what I was put on this earth to do, to show other women you can be confident, and it does not matter what you look like, what your size is, if you're skinny, if you're plus size. Find it inside of you to find that beauty, and it will shine outwards, I promise. I am going to be using the Glamnetic liquid eyeliner. I know a lot of you ask me which lashes I use, and I have been a hardcore user of Glamnetic lashes for almost a year now. I was really kind of concerned about the price of them. I guess when I first bought them, I wasn't sure if I would like them. I instantly fell in love with them just because I love the fact that they will last me about a month or 2 months. I don't have to go out and buy new lashes. This isn't sponsored or anything. I just genuinely love their lashes. These are the VIP lashes. I really like cat eyelashes because I really feel like it suits my eye shape. I was asked if social media is my full-time job. Yes, it is. I am able to live comfortably off of my brand deals and what I make from TikTok, which I am super fortunate with that. I'm gonna be using the ColourPop Fresh Kiss in the shade Love Bite. And I just take a little bit of it. This gloss has been through the freaking ringer. This is my Fenty Beauty Gloss in the shade Glass Slipper. It used to be clear, but because of the fact that I always use it with a red lip tint, it is now pink. Now to finish this all off, I set my makeup with the Rare Beauty Always an Optimist setting spray. Ooh! We love her. This is my pretty much everyday makeup look, or at least not every day, my usual content creating makeup look. I am going to be talking a lot about my ED, my own experience with it. So if this triggers you, I highly suggest that you just come back next time. I'm going to be giving a lot of my own tips, what helped me and what kind of helps me stay in a positive mindset and keeps me going and keeps me recovered. How do I stay consistent with body positivity? I don't feel the need to stay consistent. If I have a bad day, I'm gonna have a bad day. Body positivity, I think, is an amazing thing, but body neutrality is honestly the first part and the first thing that you need to start accepting before body positivity. Self-acceptance and body neutrality are more along the lines of, I accept myself for who I am. I may not be at the point where I love myself entirely, but I am working towards that. And I am aware that I'm going to have bad days. I'm aware that I'm going to have days where I feel like I need to take a step back, and that is completely okay. What I try to tell everybody is that recovery is not linear. So it's not gonna be this straight line where, you know, you're always recovered and you're never gonna have a thought about food or your body or body dysmorphia ever again. Unfortunately, that's just not how things go with eating disorders and with body dysmorphia. You know, I have days where I'll look in the mirror and I don't necessarily feel my best. the whole point and the whole message that I try to convey is that that's okay. As long as you understand that you aren't the problem, your body is not the problem, take a step back, don't be hard on yourself. What a lot of people don't understand about eating disorders and gaining confidence is that it takes so much time. A lot of you have asked me how long that it has taken me to get to this point in my life, and I can honestly say right now at 22, almost 23 years old, this is the first time in my life where I can honestly say I love my body. I love who I am. I love me as a person. I love me as a mind, a body, a soul, everything about me. I love myself. And it took so much hard work in order for me to get here. It took a lot of therapy sessions. It took a lot of working on myself as far as my mental health goes. It took a lot of time for me to realize there were certain people in my life who weren't good for me. It is a journey. It is not a race. I also get asked a lot of questions about how to recover or kind of what are the first steps to recovery. I just want you all to keep in mind that I am not a registered dietitian. I am not a registered therapist. These are just things that have helped me and that I have found even on the internet or just other sources, and I have found to work especially for me and my journey. First things first, when it comes to recovery, you can't jump right in as far as getting back to a regular schedule of eating. That is pretty much the hardest part. Something that's really helped me is time management and keeping to a schedule as far as eating. Anybody who has gone through recovery will give you this tip most likely, due to the fact that when things become schedule and your body starts learning again that it is okay to take in food and not feel guilty about it, doing it at the same time every day will kind of help maintain a habit and it'll be easier to stick to. When doing that, it's important to keep in mind to keep those portions small when you're first starting out, you're first going through recovery. Learn your hunger cues. You'll learn, oh, at this time in the morning, I'm super hungry. Okay, well, I can transition from maybe like having yogurt to a bagel, and then from a bagel to an omelet. I always encourage anybody who is having trouble with their eating habits or maybe are kind of slowly getting into that disordered eating territory to really focus on a breakfast, lunch, and dinner plus snacks mentality. Getting in the habit of eating at the same time every day, like I've said before, is super important in initiating your hunger cues. Also, I kind of stated this before, when starting your self-love journey, keep in mind that not every day is going to be this miraculous, like beautiful awakening. No, you're gonna have to start out slow. When I say start out slow, start off with journaling, start off with affirmations, start off with looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I accept myself, and work on from going from accepting yourself to loving yourself. Slowly change your wording, your verbiage of how you speak about yourself. I know that self-deprecation humor is super funny. It's really easy to kind of participate in, but honestly, self-deprecating humor is something that really hurt me and harmed me, and I see it happen to a lot of other individuals as well. I know humor can be a coping mechanism, and I totally understand that. The way that you speak about yourself is super important. I noticed that once I stopped using words like I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm fat, and using fat as this just like derogatory term, I really noticed a change in my confidence. Yes, I have fat on my body. Everybody has fat on their body. And even if you are fat, that is okay. You are allowed to be fat and beautiful. And society tells us that we have to be thin to be beautiful. And that is just absolutely not true. So kind of just rewiring your brain and unlearning all of these fat phobic ideals that society has taught us to kind of internalize is just a super important first step in your body positive, body neutral journey. I know that a lot of you are curious as to my own personal journey with my eating disorder, how old I was, how long have I struggled with my body image and eating in general. I think it probably all started when I was around 5th or 6th grade. I started noticing that other people, or especially other girls in general, didn't like themselves. They would make small comments about themselves or other girls, and I started to kind of internalize that. I have always had, I guess, bigger hips. I've always been very small in frame. I was definitely always very skinny, but I have always had larger hips. And looking at people on TV and in magazines, I never saw women or teenage girls in these magazines or TV shows or movies that had the same hip structure as I did. So that was kind of the first thing that I really started to feel insecure about. I was also very insecure about my teeth growing up as well. I had very crooked teeth, very overcrowded teeth. I had to have a lot of teeth pulled because of it. I never had braces. My teeth are still crooked. That kind of all just snowballed into a bunch of insecurities that would later just eat me alive. As I got to middle school, I started hearing very fat phobic language, people not wanting to be fat, people thinking that they need to lose weight, people really focusing on losing weight, and then me associating working out with losing weight and needing to work out to lose weight, even though personally I was probably even underweight at the time in middle school. Starting at about sophomore year, I had an illness called valley fever, which you get from a spore in the ground, and it attaches to your lungs and it makes you very sick and it's really hard to breathe. You lose your appetite and you sleep a lot. So I lost a significant amount of weight, and I just remember really focusing in on the fact that I had lost so much weight. I could see my ribs, I could see my hip bones, and for some reason that was very, very pleasing to me. This was during the time where Tumblr was super big, 2013, 2014, and I was heavily using Tumblr. I sort of started discovering the whole area of Tumblr called Thinspo and Pro Anna. I had looked into it. I had started applying some of those eating habits to my own life. It was never something that I had stuck to. It was always off and on. I started rapidly losing a bunch of weight end of 2017, beginning of 2018, and that was when I knew I was not okay. I was severely depressed. I was very suicidal. I used my eating habits, or the lack of eating, as a coping mechanism to feel in control of my own life. There was also a time in my life where I was constantly sick. I was constantly getting sick because of my immune system constantly being attacked over the fact that I basically had no food in my body at all times. I was also partying a lot, and the combination of both just led me to a very, very dark path. And then that kind of leads me to 2018, where I had gotten into a relationship, a long-term relationship, where it was a very toxic environment for me. I was just not doing well as far as my depression goes, and my own situation with that person. It was just not healthy for me at all, and that actually caused me to spiral even worse. So I started to see a therapist. I told my therapist about my eating habits, and she had told me to see somebody else to talk to me about my eating disorder because she was sure I had an eating disorder. Unfortunately, I had gone to the doctor. I had told them about my eating habits, and thankfully enough, they listened to me, even though my weight or my BMI would have suggested otherwise, that I didn't have an eating disorder because I wasn't severely underweight, which is a very tragic thing that happens to many individuals who definitely have an eating disorder, but their doctors will not diagnose them with one due to the fact that they aren't underweight enough. Around 2020, I was slowly starting to get out of this really dark place that I had been in for so long, and I was slowly starting to recover and start my self-love journey. Towards the end of October, when I had gotten out of that relationship, everything just blossomed for me. I really started to take off with TikTok. I started to genuinely figure out what makes me happy. I was pretty much really well into my recovery by then. It kind of just all has led me up to now. I definitely would say that I am fully recovered. Unfortunately though, with eating disorders, you will always have that voice in the back of your head. You will always have days where you feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat that today. It's hard when you have recovered from an eating disorder or you're in recovery, because yes, you feel well and you feel better, but you also have these thoughts and these days where you don't feel the best, and that is totally okay. Like I've said before, recovery is a journey, not a race, and it's not always linear. And then another frequently asked question is, how do I deal with my eating disorder, or how do I talk to my parents about this when they aren't really the best at understanding mental health? Fortunately, I was in a very loving household. My eating disorder and disordered eating habits never came from the home or my family. They were always very loving. They were always very understanding. Even when they didn't ever really know what was going on, they were always really supportive. I'm very lucky in that sense because I know not a lot of people have that. It's really important if you have an older person that you can talk to, maybe that be a school counselor or a teacher or a coach or somebody that you can genuinely confide into and you trust, even if that is a older friend or a best friend. Maybe their parents are able to listen to you a little bit more than your parents actually would be. When talking to your family about your eating disorder or your disordered eating habits, it's really important that you ask them to just listen. And I know it's a lot easier said than done. I would highly suggest that you try to speak to them at a very calm level and just kind of let them know what's been going on inside your head, how you've been feeling. And if they try to use gaslighting language, or if they try to say, well, I don't see anything wrong with you, you don't look like you have an eating disorder, let them know that you can have disordered eating habits or have symptoms of an eating disorder and not even look like it. If it's also easier, you can show them my videos, or you can even show them this video. And if that's helpful to you, go ahead, feel free to do so. It might be easier to hear it from another person. If you have any other questions as far as eating disorder goes, or you feel like you may have an eating disorder, there are resources online as well as a link in the description of this video that you can go to find out more. I think I'm gonna close out this video now. I've answered a lot of your guys' FAQs, but if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section of this video. I will probably be doing a part 2 as there was a lot of questions that I didn't get to. If you guys want more content on my YouTube channel, just comment what you would like to see more of. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and giving me this wonderful platform to spread my message and spread positivity and help so many women and individuals love themselves and help them on the path to recovery. I love you guys. I will see you guys soon.